It's 1940. Nazi Germany has turned much of Europe into a smouldering ruin. Poland has been crushed. The world is only just starting to hear whispers, rumours about a new kind of camp the Nazis have built. A place called Auschwitz, a place no one escapes from. And one man asks to go in. Soldier, spy, patriot. And perhaps the only person in history to voluntarily enter Auschwitz. Not just to survive, but to fight back from the inside. This is the story of a man who infiltrated hell and lit a match. It's the early 1900s. You're standing on a quiet farmstead in what used to be Poland, now under Russian control. The language you speak is banned. The flag you once saluted, gone. But in this house, Polishness lives in whispers, in history lessons told by firelight, in songs sung softly, defiantly. A boy grows up here. He rides horses through the fields, sketches wildflowers, reads books about ancient wars and brave men. But already there's something in him, a spine of steel forming young. At 14, while most boys are chasing games, he's joining secret scout units, training in silence, watching the world fracture around him. The Great War breaks the empires apart, and when Poland rises from the ashes in 1918, he doesn't hesitate. He fights. It's brutal, muddy, bayonets and bullets in the Polish-Soviet War. He rides with the cavalry, yes, horses, and survives the kind of close-quarter battle that changes a man. He earns medals, not for killing, but for courage. After the war, he steps back, marries, has children, paints, farms. He's not a soldier anymore. On the surface, he's just a man planting crops and brushing dust off his boots. But if you look closely, but the soldier never really left. The year is 1939. Germany invades Poland from the west. The Soviet Union invades from the east. In a matter of weeks, the country is torn in half. Cities burn, soldiers scatter, the government flees. But resistance begins almost immediately. And right in the thick of it, our mystery man. The same quiet farmer, the same decorated cavalryman from the war 20 years earlier. He picks up a rifle, mounts his horse, and rides into battle one more time. When the fighting ends, he doesn't run, doesn't hide. He goes underground. Using fake names, forged papers, and secret apartments, he helps form one of the first resistance groups in occupied Poland, the secret Polish army. He trains new recruits in how to fight, how to move in silence, how to disappear. He builds weapons caches, smuggles intelligence, prints underground newspapers, lives like a shadow, slipping through German checkpoints with a satchel full of classified documents and a calm, unbreakable stare. But then, something darker starts to take shape. People are being taken. Activists, priests, Jews, officers, intellectuals, they vanish into a place called Auschwitz. At first, it sounds like a prison, then a labour camp, then something worse. There are rumours, whispers of mass killings, experiments, starvation. But no facts, no hard intel. Not even the Polish resistance knows what's truly happening inside. Auschwitz is a black hole. Not everyone believes what they're hearing. Auschwitz is a death trap. No one escapes. No one infiltrates. But he doesn't flinch. He proposes the plan himself. He'll get arrested in a street roundup. He'll go in as a common prisoner. He'll build a resistance network from the inside, send reports, organise sabotage, and somehow find a way back out. It's not a suicide mission, it's strategy, and he volunteers. You see him step into the street like he's just another man heading home with an empty bag and tired shoes. But this is no mistake. Witold Pilecki has chosen this. He gets swept up in a German roundup, shouted at, shoved around, crammed into the back of a truck like livestock. There's no trial, no explanation, just a destination. The train yard stinks of oil and fear. Guards scream, dogs bark, People are herded like cattle into the boxcars. 30, 40, 60 bodies packed into one dark, airless container. No windows, just slits in the wood. The door slams shut behind him, bolted from the outside. And then, darkness. The train jolts into motion. Someone stumbles. Someone falls. A man starts praying. Another curses in a whisper. You can't sit. There's no room. You lean on each other, shift your weight, try to breathe. But the air's already turning foul. Hours pass. No water, no food, no space to piss. You feel the heat build. Dozens of bodies pressed together, exhaling fear. Somewhere in the dark, someone starts to sob. Time stretches. There's no sense of distance, no landmarks. Just the grinding metal beneath your feet, and the knowledge that no one on this train is going home. A child collapses. An old man sinks to the floor. No one can bend to help him. You're standing on the backs of shoes, shoulders pressed into ribs, someone's elbow jammed in your spine. The stench grows unbearable, and still the train rattles forward. After half a day you begin to forget where you are. Your legs burn, your lips crack. Someone near the wall claws at the boards, trying to catch a breath of air through a split in the wood. And then, movement outside, voices, dogs, the train screeches to a halt. The doors slam open and daylight stabs your eyes. Shouting, smoke, a bitter chemical stench in the air. You stumble down from the car, blinking, coughing, trying to see, and then you read it. The sign, the gate. Arbeit macht frei, Auschwitz. The gates are taller than they should be. The barbed wire hums in the wind. The dogs strain at their leashes, snarling. Guards scream orders. German words sharp as blades, designed to cut you down without touching you. A blow to the face comes without warning. A kick to the back. A rifle butt to the ribs. Men fall. No one stops to help. You move forward because there's no other direction. The uniform comes next, if you can call it that. Striped rags. A cap too small, wooden shoes that blister your feet on day one and never stop. Your hair is shaved, your name is erased, you're not a man anymore, just a number. 4859. Witold doesn't flinch, he files it away. Everything matters, every pattern, every name, every movement, because this isn't survival, this is reconnaissance. Auschwitz in 1940 is still evolving. The gas chambers are not yet the centrepiece. The mass murders haven't reached industrial scale. Not yet. For now, the camp kills you with cold, starvation, disease and labour. Work details leave before dawn. They build fences, lay bricks, dig pits they won't climb out of. Witold takes the beatings. He eats the watery soup, drinks from the tin cup that never gets washed. He keeps his mouth shut, but his eyes are always moving. Soon the others start to notice. He listens. He helps, quietly, calmly. It begins with a whisper, a glance, a smuggled scrap of paper. You watch it grow. A network, organised, disciplined, invisible. Prisoners becoming couriers, messengers, soldiers again. He builds it cell by cell, man by man, orders passed in code. News from the outside passed back out. Yes, out, because somehow, against all odds, information escapes with him. Hidden in clothing, disguised in letters, passed to Polish civilians working in the area. The truth travels. To Warsaw, to London. Witold sends the first eyewitness intelligence on Auschwitz to the Allies. He reports the starvation, the executions, the transports of Jews arriving in cattle cars, never to be seen again. And still the world delays, debates, doesn't act. Inside, the machines of death accelerate. The gas chambers begin their terrible rhythm. The smoke rises, the smell changes. Witold urges the resistance. Attack the camp, drop weapons, bomb the rail lines, do something. But no help comes. So he makes a decision. After more than 2.5 years inside this nightmare, he starts planning his escape. He He fakes illness, gets himself transferred to a bakery detail closer to the perimeter. Night after night he studies the pattern of the guards, the sweep of the lights. And then, April 1943, he moves. Alongside two others, he cuts the phone line, crawls through a gap in the wire. You're running. Through trees so black they swallow the moonlight. Breath ragged, heart clawing at your ribs. A misstep and it's over. But you don't stop. For days they hide, move at night, sleep in haystacks, beg food from farmers. No one can know who they are, what they've done, but they make it. Witold emerges back into the world half dead, but carrying knowledge no one else has. Proof. He has lived inside the worst place ever built by man. And he brought the truth back with him. Now the mission shifts. He makes it to Warsaw, thin, sick, but breathing, still holding every detail, every shipment of Jews, every execution, every whispered resistance plan smuggled out from under the Nazis' boots. He delivers it to the Polish underground, the Home Army. The Allies don't act, not really, so he does what he always does. He keeps going. He doesn't disappear, doesn't retreat into a quiet room with a cup of tea and the words, "You've done enough." That sentence doesn't live in him. He rejoins the fight. Warsaw is holding its breath. The city is cracking under Nazi rule. People vanish daily. Food is rationed. German boots echo through every stairwell. But something is building. By summer 1944, the Soviets are approaching from the east. The Home Army sees a window. If they can rise up and take the city before the Russians arrive, maybe, just maybe, Poland can claim its freedom before Stalin swallows it. So they plan. In basements, in coded letters, in whispered meetings. Witold's there. No rank needed, just grit. He joins KDU, the sabotage wing. Street combat, supply raids, assassinations. He trains men to move like shadows. Then the day comes. August 1st, 44. The uprising begins. You hear it before you see it. Gunfire cracking off stone. Molotovs bursting against tanks. Young men and women with homemade weapons storming German posts, capturing city blocks, pulling down swastikas. Warsaw ignites. For 63 days they fight, outnumbered, under-equipped, alone. Witold moves through the smoke, commanding, treating the wounded, blowing bridges, running messages through sewers filled with death. No front lines, no safety, just shifting corners of freedom that the Nazis bomb to pieces by nightfall. You hear the Luftwaffe scream overhead, entire districts levelled, hospitals hit, civilians buried alive. But they don't give in. Even as the Soviets wait across the river, watching but not moving, Stalin lets the rebellion bleed, lets the Germans do his work for him. By October it's over. The resistance is crushed. Those who survive are captured, exiled or executed. Witold doesn't die, not yet. He slips through the ruins, keeps going. Because this war isn't over just because the Nazis fall. The next chapter is darker still. But for now, you see him there, dust-covered, bruised, unbroken, standing in the shattered skeleton of Warsaw. One man who keeps showing up, no matter the cost. The Nazis broken, Auschwitz behind him, the uprising burned into memory. You'd think a man like this, who's given everything, gets to rest. But Poland doesn't get peace, not really. The Soviets roll in, not as liberators, but as occupiers. One tyranny replaces another, this one with red flags and cold smiles. Witold sees it coming. He's always seen what others miss, so he stays underground. A new enemy, same mission. He builds networks again, this time to track Soviet atrocities, secret trials, arrests, disappearances. The silence isn't as loud, but it's just as dangerous. He gathers evidence, sends reports to the Polish government in exile in London. It's all too familiar, too necessary, and this time it costs him everything. May 1947, he's arrested. Not by the Gestapo, but by his own countrymen. The new communist regime drags him into a basement cell. He's stripped, starved, broken, tortured by men who call themselves Poles. For nearly a year they try to crush him, to make him betray others. He says nothing. During the show trial, they call him a traitor, a spy, a threat to the state. He stands straight, unapologetic, calm. He says, I tried to live my life in such a fashion so that in my last hour I would rather feel joy than fear. On May 25th, 1948, they take him to the basement of Mokotów prison. A guard puts a bullet in the back of his head. No funeral, no grave. His name is erased, buried beneath propaganda and fear. But silence never holds forever. Decades later, the truth surfaces. Documents smuggled, stories passed down, names remembered. Witold's courage becomes undeniable. A soldier who volunteered for Auschwitz, who built a resistance inside the belly of death, who fought Nazis and Soviets alike, who gave his life again and again for a country that wasn't ready to honour him. But now, today, statues rise, books bear his name, schools teach his story. A hero once hidden, now etched into history, not as a victim, but as the defiant heartbeat of a free Poland. He never saw the world he dreamed of. But you see him now, standing in the shadows of the 20th century, unshaken, unbent, a man whose weapon was truth, a man who walked into hell not to survive it, but to expose it,